Let's bring in Ronna McDaniel now, John, chairwoman of the RNC. Ronna, you caught our eye over the weekend when you tweeted out, you know what I'm not doing right now? Watching baseball. So has Ronna McDaniel boycotted baseball over this?
You know, it's hard to watch with the hypocrisy we're seeing from Major League Baseball. And I think the governor said it so well. You know who's getting hurt? The little person. Yeah. Atlanta, a majority black city. Those hot dog vendors, those hotels, these businesses that have been decimated by the pandemic, they are hurting the little guy based on a lie told by the president, by President Joe Biden, who lied about the specifics of this law, which has been amplified by his big tech friends and his media allies, and they have lied. And you know what's funny? Their Twitter account hasn't been suspended. They're still on Facebook. They're allowed to lie to the American people, hurt small businesses, and continue to move forward. It is a total hypocrisy compared to how Republicans would be treated in the same situation.
Ron, I want to put a couple of things up on the screen for the folks at home to look at. First of all, an AP poll and then something from Mitch McConnell. One of the big issues with this Georgia law is voter ID. An AP poll found that overall 72% of Americans favor showing some sort of ID to vote. Republicans, it's 91%. Even a majority of Democrats support that. And then here's what Mitch McConnell said about corporations getting involved in these political issues. He said, quote, from election law to environmentalism to radical social agendas to the Second Amendment, parts of the private sector keep dabbling in behaving like a woke parallel government. The Senate Minority Leader suggested that there could be consequences for some of these companies who are jumping on the bandwagon here. What do you think may happen?
Well, certainly as they're spreading misinformation and not reading this law. I mean, it's common sense. We should have IDs to vote. We should be able to show our ID and say who we are, who we say we are. You have to show an ID to get into Delta Airlines to go on a flight. You have to show an ID to get your will call tickets at a Major League Baseball game. So why are they fighting this? And I think more than anything, they're trying to set an example for other states so they don't pass election reforms that strengthen our elections. And this is the mob, this cancel culture, and the Democrats are ruling all of these aspects of our country right now. And they are trying to silence the Republican Party or anybody who dissents with them. And it is frightening because freedom does matter in this country. And we can have the freedom to disagree and not punish people and bully them and destroy their livelihoods. And that's exactly what President Biden just did to all these businesses in Atlanta that now are not going to see income coming in, that are not going to see those vendor stands getting that money from those patrons at that baseball game. That's what's happening with this mob rule, this cancel culture, and it's destroying our country. And you think it's not coming for you? It'll come to you next. And that's why we have to stand up to it now.
Adding to the little guy argument from you and from the Georgia Governor Kemp last hour, it's not just from the economic standpoint that the little guy's getting hurt. It's the fans. I mean, America's baseball and apple pie, and it's, to your point, difficult to watch when there's so much politics in our sports now, and now it has come to baseball. Really interesting piece in the Wall Street Journal this morning. A former commissioner of baseball takes on Rob Manfred, the current commissioner of baseball that made this move. He's saying that the commissioner politicized baseball over a law he likely hadn't examined. And that is an interesting thought, because how many of these corporate heads actually went through the details of the law? The governor, Kemp, just told us, he said the commissioner called him, they spoke, but the next thing he knew, the All-Star game was moved without warning. So I'll put this up on the screen. These are the company logos of the companies that are criticizing the election law. And I will add this to it, Ronna, because this is in front of me right now, that Coca-Cola and Apple, who have both complained about this law, have actively lobbied against a bill targeting forced labor in China. Adding to that, of the 22 other major companies or organizations, Ronna, that are publicly complaining about this new law, 18 of them have significant business dealings in China. I just wonder if now they've made this move about Georgia election laws, what kind of pressure they're going to get from the woke left to make even more changes, and how it could dramatically change these boardrooms.
Well, you know what's going to happen, Sandra, from the woke left? Probably nothing. They're fine with China. They're fine with the human rights violations. They're fine what's happening with the Uyghurs in China. They're just more upset about election laws that are strengthening our elections in this country and the Republican Party and keeping their power. And you know what? All those CEOs of those companies, of Twitter, of Facebook, of Coca-Cola, of Delta, they're going to go to bed tonight knowing that they're going to have millions in their pockets tomorrow. But those vendors and those small businesses in Georgia, they know that they are hurting because this game left their city, a majority black city, for a city that is only 10% black. How is that in line with Democrat values?
You know, Ronna, we talk about these, they're described as draconian voter laws in the state of Georgia with this new law. But we found one place where when you go to vote, they actually announce your name to everyone who's in the polling place. This is part of their FAQs on their website. So why did they say my name before I vote? First, it's required by law. Second, so everyone in the polling place knows who's voting in case someone wants to challenge your right to vote. In primaries, they announce your party affiliation. Why? It's required by law for primary elections. Second, so everyone in the polling place knows who's voting in case someone wants to challenge your right to vote. Where would they do such a thing? Delaware.
Yeah, the hypocrisy is so rampant. But like you said, Sandra, we need sports in this country right now. You know, my 16-year-old son loves the Detroit Tigers. He's not in school. He's still in virtual school. They're so worried about punishing Georgia and moving the Major League Baseball games. Get my kids in school. Why don't you focus on that? And they need sports. And why are we politicizing everything in this country? And it is all coming from the Democrats, identity politics, cancel culture, and it is ruining our country. And that's why we have to fight back. And the Republican Party does stand for the little guy. We hope the MLB reconsiders their decision. Move it back to Atlanta because you did it the wrong thing. And Joe Biden owes an apology to the people of Georgia for the lies that he spread about this law.
All right, Ronna McDaniel, great to have you here this afternoon. Thank you.